Welcome, everyone. Today we explore advanced literary techniques, the tools writers use not just to tell stories, but to reshape language, time, and perception. From metafiction to stream of consciousness, these devices deepen meaning and challenge how we read and interpret texts. Metafiction dissects the illusion of storytelling, drawing attention to its own construction. By breaking the fourth wall, it destabilizes reader immersion to reveal the artifice behind narrative truths. Polyphony, as theorized by Bakhtin, inserts multiple voices within a single work, refusing hierarchical meaning. Each character's ideology holds independent weight, creating a chorus of equal discourses. Hypotaxis and parataxis manipulate syntactical layering to control rhythm and clarity. The former creates subordination and complexity, while the latter emphasizes immediacy and fragmentation. Focalization defines perspective and access to narrative information. Internal focalization aligns readers with a character's consciousness, while external limits insight, creating detachment or suspense. Intertextuality embeds meaning through reference and echo. Every text becomes a palimpsest. Quotations, allusions, and stylistic mimicry provoke recognition and complicity in decoding literary lineage. Analepsis and prolepsis disrupt chronological flow, enacting memory or prophecy. Their use can reflect trauma, anticipation, or thematic recursion, mimicking the nonlinearity of human consciousness. Irony reframes apparent meaning, cultivating tension between surface and subtext. Dramatic irony lets the audience know more than the characters, fostering empathy or discomfort depending on context. Negative capability, coined by Keats, privileges uncertainty and contradiction. It celebrates ambiguity and resists resolution, aligning poetic expression with emotional and philosophical nuance. The unreliable narrator fragments authority, inviting skepticism of truth. Their distortions, intentional or unconscious, reflect psychological complexity and implicate readers in meaning-making. Stream of consciousness plunges into interiority, often unpunctuated or disjointed. It mimics associative thinking, creating an immersive experience of subjectivity and temporal simultaneity. Magical realism blurs the boundary between the mundane and the miraculous. Its tone remains matter of fact, enabling metaphorical interpretation of political, spiritual, or psychological conditions. Synecdoche and metonymy reshape representation through part-whole and association. These figures of speech condense meaning, often enhancing the poetic density or symbolic economy of a work. Defamiliarization, from Russian formalism, makes the familiar strange. By disrupting linguistic expectations, it refreshes perception and reawakens critical attention to everyday phenomena. Liminality governs thresholds and transitional spaces, physical or metaphysical. Characters in liminal states often undergo identity flux, echoing rites of passage or cultural dislocation. Paradox resists logical resolution, enacting truths only expressible through contradiction. It is central to metaphysical poetry, postmodern fiction, and philosophical literature alike. Free indirect discourse merges third-person narration with first-person subjectivity. It creates fluidity between narrator and character, dissolving boundaries in tone and thought. Ekphrasis translates visual art into verbal form, reimagining imagery through language. It foregrounds interpretation, allowing literature to engage critically with other aesthetic modes. Allegory structures narrative around symbolic correspondences, often moral or political. While surface plot operates independently, deeper meaning demands sustained interpretive effort. Parody and pastiche both rework existing styles. The former satirizes, the latter celebrates. Both destabilize notions of originality and underscore literature's dialogic, intertextual nature. Syntax and diction reveal character, mood, and worldview. A clipped, terse sentence might imply repression or tension, while ornate syntax may connote intellectualism, artifice, or parody. Tropes function as recurrent motifs or figurative devices, shaping genre and expectation. Subversion of tropes, especially in postmodernism, challenges reader assumptions and cultural norms. Metalepsis collapses narrative levels, violating diegetic boundaries. When a character addresses the author, or fiction bleeds into reality, ontological security fractures. Apophasis reveals through denial. Saying, "I won't mention," emphasizes the unspoken. It's a rhetorical sleight of hand, foregrounding what it claims to obscure. Chiasmus inverts structure for emphasis. Ask not what your country can do for you. Its mirrored syntax heightens rhetorical gravity and aesthetic satisfaction. Caesura and enjambment shape poetic pacing, tension, and breadth. A midline pause can create rupture, while enjambment propels meaning across lines, deferring closure. Symbolism transcends literal meaning to resonate across emotional and cultural registers. A green light, a black veil, or a cracked turn gathers layers of reference through repetition and resonance. Anagnorisis marks a moment of critical revelation or self-knowledge, often tragic. It aligns with Aristotelian catharsis, initiating ethical or emotional transformation. Amplification layers detail for emphasis or grandeur. It is central to epic rhetoric, where repetition and elaboration elevate narrative stakes and mythical resonance. Anadiplosis repeats the end of one clause at the beginning of the next. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. It builds momentum and thematic linkage. Aposiopesis marks a trailing off, a rhetorical silence loaded with emotion. It conveys interruption, awe, or unspeakability, leveraging absence to speak volumes. Allusion functions as literary shorthand, assuming cultural literacy. Biblical, classical, or pop references enrich text with layers without lengthy exposition. Zoomorphism inverts anthropomorphism, attributing animal qualities to humans. It reflects dehumanization, instinct, or primal drives, often challenging notions of civility. Cacophony and euphony contrast dissonant and harmonious sound patterns. They embody thematic content, discord or serenity, through phonetic texture. Antanaclasis repeats a word with a different meaning. Your argument is sound, all sound. This punning device highlights semantic instability or irony. Tone modulation across narrative space reshapes reader alignment. Shifts from sardonic to sincere or detached to intimate recalibrate emotional and moral stakes. Anacoluthon disrupts grammatical flow for emphasis or verisimilitude. It mimics thought disarray, often used to capture hesitation, excitement, or rhetorical improvisation. Consonance and assonance, sonic cousins of rhyme, intensify musicality and mood. Their subtle repetition can lull or jolt, depending on placement and context. Bathos juxtaposes the sublime with the trivial, deflating grandeur with absurdity. It can be comic or critical, undercutting inflated rhetoric or false seriousness. Periphrasis circumvents directness through elaborate phrasing. It can reflect a character's evasiveness, politeness, or pretension, or simply a stylized flourish. Oxymoron, like deafening silence, embodies paradox in two words. Its tension lies in contradiction and compactness, suggesting unresolved but resonant truths. Thank you for engaging with these advanced literary techniques. As we've seen, they aren't just stylistic flourishes, they shape meaning, voice, and truth itself. I hope this inspires you to read more deeply, write more deliberately, and question every narrative layer.